The Body Shop connects you with the hottest fitness models in the world. Learn the backstage secrets that most successful bikini divas, fitness models, and bodybuilders use to dominate their competition and land on the covers of magazines. Only here at the Body Shop will we allow you to listen and talk to the best of the best in fitness competition. If you're passionate about bodybuilding and fitness, you have found your new home. All of us here at FTNS Radio would like to welcome you to the Body Shop. Body Shop. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome your host, Andre Brick St. Clair.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Body Shop. Thank you for allowing the Body Shop and FTNS into your homes and into your airwaves. Only here at the Body Shop will you learn the backstage secrets that some of the most successful bikini divas and fitness models use to dominate their competition. Now, in the studio with me, I have Mr. Brian Canone.
Hey, Andre.
Big B, what's going on, man?
Oh, man. All right. Well, you know, we've been doing the Body Shop now for about close to 60 episodes.
I believe this is our 61st show.
And yeah, we're close. You know, I'd say we're definitely around 60.
I think we're 66
shows.
See,
man.
See, if we was on The Price is Right, I'd win.
Well, you know, the main thing is you know, trying to get out to competitors, mostly athletes that we bring on as guests, but at the same point, trying to educate people in general about, you know, the sport of fitness competitions, what's involved, what it takes. Not only getting on the cover of a magazine, but really truly becoming successful. And, you know, I've met a lot of people through the gym industry, been doing it for 20 years in the gym business. And, you know, I see a lot of people that come and apply for gym jobs. And a lot of times it's kind of like a job not really taken seriously as something that could really become like a career part of a show, you know, like something that people can stick with. You know, the people that you have, like the general manager of a gym, then you have these personal trainers that kind of work part-time, are kind of struggling, their schedules are sporadic, either they work all day long or either they barely work at all, and it's like a part-time job. Then you also have, you know, so you have the general manager is probably making, you know, probably 60 grand or something, you know, staying there 50 hours a week. You have all these personal trainers, you're making like 25,000 or something, you know, and then you have people that, you know, either go to school for it, you know, like where we are, they go to like Southern Connecticut College, and they get like an exercise science degree. Through that degree, they apply for a gym, maybe. But most of them don't pursue that as a career. Like sometimes they think, well, maybe I'll go into sports training, maybe I'll go into physical therapy, maybe, you know, I'll go into get a job in like physical therapy. Most of the time, if they do pursue that, it's usually like a phys ed job. You know, somebody that would go to college and really focus on that, you know, like exercise science, exercise, you know, physiology. They come out and they become like a gym teacher. Again, making probably around the same amount as, you know, somebody who's running a gym. So it's like that kind of a toss-up, like where are they going to go with it, you know? And these fitness competitors that try to make it on magazines and try to pursue this, a lot of them really have no idea or like a plan, a pathway of what to do. So a lot of them are really taking a shot and taking a risk at something that's not guaranteed. You know, there's no guarantee that you're going to become successful when you do this, pretty much. And for most people, they're told, you can't do this.
That's true.
As a career.
That is very true. But do you feel as though that the people that are going to school and getting, you know, these sports degrees and becoming personal trainers, do you feel that they can actually make more money than somebody that wins a competition, turns pro, and then tries to market themselves off as like the next big thing?
Well, that's a hard question to really answer, you know. You know, we don't know if everybody has that shot. You know, I think the most important thing, though, would probably be to have somebody be like your coach.
Okay. Now,
you know, which kind of leads me to, like, sometimes I wonder, like, I see these people really struggling. I wonder, like, what their parents would think.
Yeah, you know what?
With where they are.
I think most of the times, and this is just my personal opinion, I think the parents probably sit back and look at it more so as like it's just a fad.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay,
you're
great.
Get a real job.
Yeah.
You're going to get the real job
right
after.
Right.
He goes through this whole workout thing.
Yeah, you know, you're on stage, you're doing the muscle thing, but when are you actually going to go out, get a job, and move out of the basement or something like that, you know? Well, what I want to know is this. Is there any way that we can talk to somebody's parent or talk to somebody's mother or father and get their perspective on it?
I don't know. Amal. Anybody on the phone lines?
Who we got?
Anybody?
Who we got? I know that voice. I know that voice.
Vince, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, but you're hearing my father laugh.
Vince is the pony. I'm the ultimate Italian stallion. Vince is the pony, regardless of what he says.
Oh, no.
I'm just kidding.
I like that. Now, hold on, because I got to make it official. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Body Shop the newest WBFF Pro, Mr. Vince DelMonte, and his father. Welcome. Vince, how you doing out there, man?
I'm good. Great to be back, and I got to tell everybody who's just jumped on the call, you guys are in for a treat tonight when you start hearing my dad's true thoughts of when I got into the fitness industry, which didn't seem like too long ago. I can't remember the quotes, but I want to see if he remembers what he said.
Okay. So, Pops.
Do you remember what you said when Vince decided he wanted to go to school to pursue fitness?
Well, I didn't. I don't think I had a problem with him going to pursue fitness. It was more when he started getting involved in the internet side of it, and I wondered, are you really going to try to make a living out of this? Are you serious? And I had to contain myself because there was a certain degree of sarcasm in me. I mean, I don't come from the old country of Italy, but my parents did, and you know, you work your butt off to provide a future for your own children, and then when the children of the immigrants have their children, they kind of have a certain pathway in mind, maybe not the specifics, but you sort of set your kids up for the success track that you think, operative word there, that you think as a parent is the right path, and then they choose to do something that's right outside the box. Like, I mean, it's in another book. It's not in the same book. It's in a totally different direction, and so I think I really had a hard time early on with Vince, but he proved us, he made us believers, that's for sure.
How did that go? Like, do you remember when he started having success, or was there like a struggle before he became successful with it?
Well, okay, let me put it this way. My boys, I have three sons. Vince is the oldest of three. He's 31, and then there's a 29-year-old, and then there's a 25-year-old. And I was a runner and a soccer player back in the day, and of course I steered my kids, to my wife's chagrin, towards athletics, but particularly the endurance events. And Vince really was, I am a witness to it, as is his mother, was truly Skinny Vinny. And anyone who's seen his photos know that he was a Skinny Vinny guy. And he wasn't an okay runner growing up, but he wasn't great. He was good. He was dependable, but he didn't really have the success that some of his peers did. So I think when he was done high school running, and then for 4 years he was on the varsity cross-country team at his university. But I still remember the day he came to me and he said, "Dad, I am done running. I'm finished with it, and I'm going to transform my body." And I didn't know what the heck he was talking about. Like, what, you know, I'd heard the word in the past, you know, like I'd heard different things about the fitness industry, but I didn't know that much about it. And I just thought, oh boy, our kid's joining a cult or something, an exercise, a fitness cult. But he began, one of the things I think his real education started after his formal education, to be honest with you. He used to say, when he first started working, like, I got $40,000 education and I'm making $10 an hour at the Y. And that's not a shot against the Y or anything, but it was just, he really realized, well, what am I doing? And he became, all of a sudden, it's like he became self-motivated. Up until then, he was just doing it because it was a thing to do, and then all of a sudden, some self-motivation, self-starting kicked in, and that's when I thought, this guy's for real, but I don't know where this is taking us.
Right. Now, did you believe at first that your son can actually make money when he approached you and said, you know what, Dad, I'm tired of running and I want to do that? Did you, in the back of your mind, honestly believe that he can make a living at this?
No, I honestly didn't. It was foreign soil to us, Andre. We just didn't have a category for what Vince was beginning to move into until we saw the body. The first thing we saw evidence of a possible future, short-term future, was he had got something published in bodytransformation.com. And it was a real article, a real story about our son. And then I think soon after he got we saw a little piece on him, just a little simple write-up in, I don't know if it was Men's Health or some kind of, legitimate publication. I thought, I still didn't believe he could actually thought he could have a hobby at it, but I kept telling him, why don't you go to teacher's college? Why don't you go be a phys ed teacher and coach? You'll love that. And for whatever reason, he steered away from that, and he got inspired. He had a few different mentors that came along the way that I think believed in him and saw in him stuff that he probably didn't even know he had.
Right. Hey, Vince, who are actually some of your mentors or some of the people that you looked up to when you first decided to start this internet empire as it is now?
Well, in terms of the internet side of things, I remember the first website I ever saw was Anthony Ellis's Muscle Gain. I forget what it's called. Gain Muscle Fast. Anyways, he had a $97 ebook, and the first time I saw it, it was this infomercial-style website. It was about 30 or 40 pages long. It was one of those sites you just kept scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and I said, I bet this guy's broke. He's probably but he buys off websites like this. Anyways, I suspended my belief when I did a little research, and I found out that, I can't even say the number. People wouldn't even believe me. But let's just say he was making, more than most people do a year in 1 month.
Wow.
And I said, that's impossible. That's impossible. That was in 2005. So I basically just became a student of the internet. And the one thing that drew me towards it was that there's no gatekeepers on the internet. There's nobody that tells you what you can and can't do.
Okay.
And I kind of saw an opportunity to, help people solve their problems. Really capture the skinny guy, the worlds of the skinny guy, because I had the same problem and I solved that problem, and that's what this guy Anthony had done with his website, and I thought, I have a similar story, and if I can learn how to do what he did, maybe I could have just a small piece of his success, and I started my research.
Vince, when you first decided to make that move, were there more than people than just your dad who kind of didn't really think it was a real job?
Well, when I pursued the internet thing, I didn't actually tell anybody.
Okay.
I did it secretly because I was actually scared myself. I had joined a couple multi-level marketing companies prior to that, and no shot to those specific companies, but they didn't work out for me. So I was kind of I used to sell knives in high school, so I kind of had a track record of bouncing from venture to venture without showing anything for all these Mom, look what I'm doing today sort of thing. So when I got into the internet thing, I was scared myself, and I actually hired a coach. It was a $7,000 investment. I put it on a line of credit, and I didn't tell anybody. It was a secret of mine. And I hired this coach for 6 months, and I wanted to kind of surprise people to see if it worked out. So you know, at first I didn't tell anybody until I actually had, you know, I don't even tell you guys the first day I launched my site, you know, I had no sales for a few weeks, and then I finally had 2 sales. And the 2 sales that came in on my ebook were from 2 guys I knew from my gym.
Wow.
They weren't even like legit sales. It wasn't like I generated my own traffic, or it wasn't like I did something to create those sales.
Right.
2 buddies who were just 2 of my friends who bought the book. So that's when I knew I had my work cut out for me, and that's when I also kind of saw that, man, this isn't going to be easy, but if I can crack this code, then I might be able to make something of this.
Okay. Now hold on a second there, Vince, because I do got to cut to commercial, but when I come back, I want to touch on 2 things that you said. One of them is, how exactly did you crack the code? And then the second thing is, how did you start generating traffic to your website to eventually start making money? So, Vince, Daddy Vince, I need both of y'all to stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, you listen to The Body Shop. We'll be right back.
FTNS, where fitness comes to life.
Hi there, this is Jerry Zatkoff from the Nutrition Scoop. Where do you get your nutrition information from? The TV? Friends? Or maybe from the front of the package? I'll dish out the latest news on nutrition, the food industry, and research related to health and wellness. Find out what's real, what's true, and what you need to know to stay healthy in our toxic food environment. I'll tell you what to eat, when to eat it, where to buy it, and how to cook it. Weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, only on FTNS.
Boomers Rock, weekdays at 6 p.m. Eastern. Join your host, baby boomer Tom Matt, as he shares with you his inspirational recent personal transformation from couch potato to getting his master's degree to bodybuilder to personal trainer. You don't have to be a boomer to get inspired. Tune in weekdays at 6 p.m. Eastern on FTNS.co. Get up, get out, keep rocking. Life starts now. Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Turn on the Just Big Show. It's a show about getting big, being big, and living big. Everything nowadays is supersized, including your hosts, Vincent DeZenzo and Matt Rhodes. Both are elite-level strength athletes, and they know how to get you bigger and stronger. If your goal is to set off every lunk alarm within a 10-gym radius and have a blast while doing it, tune in to Just Big. Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on FTNS. Need FTNS on the go? There's an app for that. Download the FTNS app for your iPhone, iPad, or iPod Touch now. FTNS, world's first fitness radio, will keep you moving.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to The Body Shop. I am your host, Andre Brick St. Clair, along with Mr. Brian Canone. Now, on the line, we have Mr. Vince DelMonte, and we have his father. And right before the break, I was going to ask Vince about cracking the code and how to generate more traffic to the website. However, what I want to do is I want to talk to Vince's dad just a bit more. So, Vince, this is in no disrespect to you, but I just want to get your father's take on a few things. So, Mr. DelMonte is what I'm going to call you.
Luch.
Call you what?
Luch.
Luch? All right, there you go.
Luciano, hey.
I like that. Okay, so Luciano, you know, bada bing, bada boom over here. Listen to this.
Forget about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, why not? Okay. So, here's your son now, okay? I'm gonna rewind time for you. Your son right now has the ability to travel all around the world, hold seminars anywhere he wants. He can buy pretty much anything he wants, and he's married to the woman of his dreams. At least that's what he told me. Now,
He is.
okay, see, I like that. Now, let's take it back. What areas of Vince's life have you seen change since him, you know, getting into this whole industry and starting up the internet business?
Oh, that's a great question. I was just thinking about that today. What are some of the, I think what I've seen is Vince is probably the most, I have to say without question, believe it or not, I'm around a lot of pretty strong leaders and motivators, inspirers, and Vince has got to be the most focused person I know. But I think what I've also seen, actually, there's a great book out called Talent is Overrated, and I think Vince is a great example of someone who, a lot of the guys who don't accomplish a whole lot they'll do the work, they'll put the time in, but they don't actually believe that it's going to make a difference.
Okay.
But Vince, he believes what he's doing is really going to make a difference.
Right.
And so he's so focused. And the other thing I've seen change in him is there's a continual desire to improve, to grow, to learn. He never stops. He's totally consuming information. And I saw this before he was married. He'd buy DVD programs and he'd be taking copious notes in his notebook. And I said, "What are you doing?" He gave up watching TV. He gave up doing a lot of stuff like that. He just kept sharpening. Stephen Covey has the 7 habits, and my favorite habit of the 7 is sharpening the saw. And if there's one thing I taught the boys when they were growing up was they need to keep the saw sharp. The saw is your life,
right?
The greatest asset you have. And I think Vince has really. That's what I've seen change. And the other thing I just want to make note of is Vince has really taken ownership for his actions, whether they be good or bad. Like he's really become proactive about that. So as a dad, I'm really proud of that.
Right. Okay.
And so I've also seen he's what people wouldn't see, and Vince wouldn't talk about this. He's very generous. Like he's very helpful. He's got a cause that he contributes to, like orphan kids around the world, and he doesn't tell a lot of people about that. But when you walk into his house, you see a wall, and it's got the pictures of 9 or 10 kids around the world that he sponsors.
Right.
And I've seen that change in him. He's used his any wealth he has. He's used it to make other people's lives better, not just his own.
Right. So your son, as of right now, is a great humanitarian.
Well, I see that increasingly. He wants to help more and more people. He's always talking about that. That's what's made me a believer, to be honest with you.
Right.
Is I'm not impressed with, adding another digit to your annual income or whatever, as much as I am. There's a difference between net worth and self-worth.
Right.
And what's the point of getting a lot of net worth if your self-worth is ruined in the process?
Completely understand that. Completely.
And Vince has grown both, and it's a hard balance to maintain. And I'm probably the one who speaks the strongest truth to him, and he receives it from me. And I'm probably the hardest on him, and yet I probably believe in him the most.
Right. Okay. Now, Luch, was Vince always this driven individual that you see before you now, or was this something that he evolved into, once he started taking these meticulous notes, once you started reading the book Talent is Overrated, with your favorite of the 7 habits, which you said was sharpening the saw, and you said that you always taught your kids to keep the saw sharp. Was Vince always that way, or is this something that just evolved over time?
No, I think he grew into this. I don't think great people are always necessarily, well, everyone's born, but I mean, Vince, over the years, I wouldn't say, initially I didn't think Vince was the sharpest pencil in the room. He was a bit, my wife always said, he's a little punchy,
Right.
But something triggered in him, I think towards the end of university, where I think, Vince, did the penny drop when you walked into the Y and you asked your boss there, like, how much increase can I see, if I stay here over the next year? And she said $1 or $2.
Yeah. I worked for 3 months, and I said, what's my future here? And she said, in a year from now. So I was making $10 an hour, and remember, I just dropped over $40,000 on a university education. So,
right.
I was working at the Y 3 months. She said, in 1 year from now, we can give you a $1 raise.
$1 raise.
Right.
A $1 raise. So I would be working for $11 instead of $10 an hour. So I actually quit on the spot, and that's what I knew I needed to take. I was reading a book at the time by a Rich Dad Poor Dad book, and one of the
love that book, by the way.
Yeah,
I love that book. Yeah.
I think one thing that I saw Vince do was besides improve himself,
a boss's job to make you rich And his definition of the word job was just over broke.
Just over broke.
And when I learned those two things, those were like, and again, I wasn't trying to get rich. Let me reassure you that I was just like, it was a new perspective. It wasn't my boss's job to make me rich. If I wanted to change my lifestyle, that was up to me.
Yeah. Right. Okay, now Luch, your son was, talking as he was trying to jump in, so I really want to get the gist of what it was he was trying to say.
Well, what I'm trying to, I think what I saw Vince do, which I think applies to everyone, especially if they're young, is wherever he worked, he was always very faithful on his job and dependable. Mm-hmm. Like, he always excelled. Like, and I think after he went from the Y, he actually went to 2 different gyms. The first gym he went to, like real gym, like Vince did so much for that company, and he moved up real quick, and then he went to another gym, and I think it's just because he worked hard. When the boss wasn't even watching, Vince he excelled. And then I saw him go to another job in a gym where the boss said, I've never paid anyone a salary, but I'm going to give you a salary and commission, and that was after watching the way Vince works. So I think without ever having any visions or grandiose dreams of, making a lot of money, Vince, he just put his head to the plow and worked his butt off.
Right.
And that's where I saw the seeds of greatness being planted. Just and maybe he learned that unconsciously growing up. I don't know, but he really he always likes to say that the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is that successful people are willing to do the things that unsuccessful people aren't willing to do.
Right.
So he figured out for himself what those were, and he did it.
You know what? As I'm listening to you, Luch, like, it's obvious that most fathers are very proud of their son, okay? And, that's evident. But to hear you be able to quote your son and he doesn't live with you also shows me that you're really behind your son. Like, you are truly one of his fans. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it is. And, I mean, the other day he did something ridiculous. He's got 5,000 personal friends on Facebook.
Right.
He's got, I don't know if he's over 11,000 now on his public thing. And he put a profile picture. If you look on the computer, he's got it up there. He looks like a transformer. So I wrote him a private email. I didn't think he was going to post it so the whole world could see it.
Yeah.
I said, Vince, I like the way you look in this picture. Why do you got to look like a transformer? And so he writes to everybody, you got to love my dad.
Yes.
That's the kind of relationship that he and I have developed, that
right.
He can make that comment, that he feels secure, he doesn't feel threatened. Mm-hmm. I think a few years ago we had a very difficult relationship, Vince and I. It was very difficult, and we worked through some stuff together, and I think we both have the greatest respect for one another. And do we always agree with everything? Of course not.
Of course not, right.
But mostly we do. I mean, and of course bringing Flavia into it has just, like, they're almost like our best friends. We just enjoy being with them and with their community. I mean, where I saw this was real was he brought me down to Orlando to speak, to do a little session, among others, the Fitness Info Summit, and I couldn't believe that he put his father in front of these 300 fitness people, and I thought, what are you doing, Vince? Like, I'm going to scare them away. But it turned out, and I think that was also a great turning point for us.
Well, it goes back to what you said at the beginning of the program, and that is Vince is the pony and you're the stallion. So at the end of the day, even though Vince has the reins of his company, he's still humble enough to show you that respect. Like, Dad, look, see, this is what I've been working so hard towards. Now, I have another question, and again, I'm still going back in time with this, because your son is starting up this internet empire. You're not sure if he's going to make any money at it, so on and so forth. He makes a couple of books. 2 friends buy the book. That's not too bad. Yeah. But now, he comes home, right? He shows you a picture of Flavia, and he says, Dad, that's her. That's your future daughter-in-law. Come on now. I've seen Flavia. I know what went through your mind was like, all right, son, you're shooting really high, right?
Yeah, he traded up. He traded down. No, they're great for each other. They're actually, I was talking to her dad the other day, who her dad and mom probably would have a little, probably more challenging time understanding the world of fitness that Flavia has joined with Vince. But even her dad said to me, he says, you know, those two were born for each other.
Right.
They were made. They're a perfect match, and they check and balance each other, though. I mean, because this fitness world, there's various levels and degrees of it, right? And as a parent, I mean, I don't know if you and Brian have children or not. But
actually, I have none. Praise God.
Well, when you have children, your perspective on a lot of this stuff will change. And so this has been good for me, because not only am I a parent, I'm also a pastor. I spend my time in the faith community, and people talk, right? And they judge. And I've decided to be my son's biggest fan, not just a modest fan, but his biggest fan, and stand in the gap for him and to protect him from, I just learned this word from your world, is the word haters. Like, I didn't know that word until I came into this, the world that Vince and Flavia live in. And I think Vince has more people who love him than hate him, but obviously there's, there is that in this world, eh?
Right. You know what it is? The phrase haters nowadays has taken on a whole different meaning from what it originally was. I mean,
really,
back in your day, if I'm not mistaken, I believe you called them naysayers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Naysayer.
Yeah. See, Brian? Yeah, I do my research.
Naysayers.
You know, I do my research. I knew we was going to have Luch on the line. I say, hey, forget about it. I'm not going to sound like a goomba over here.
So at least when Vince knows that there's haters, they've been around forever.
That's right. That's right.
They changed their name.
They changed their name.
Naysayers.
From naysayers. See, what a hater originally was, the typical naysayer. Like, for instance, okay, Brian comes to me and says, hey, I want to do this show and I want to have this guest speaker. And I say to him,
nay, is that what?
Nah, that sucks. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. And then all of a sudden I'm going behind his back. I'm like, oh, Brian's great and this and that. It's like, you know what? You're talking out both sides of your mouth. Hey,
well, you know something about this, though. It goes both ways to this conversation. That's why it's great to have Vince's dad on the line. My parents, growing up, especially my mom, more so than my dad, was just get a secure job.
Right.
Go work for the gas company. You will never be fired if you work for the gas company. That's the best job.
That's the best job, huh?
I mean, and then, I went to a trade school, so I was pursuing, at that time, I just felt like, well, let me go into plumbing, because maybe I could go into the gas company then, But, and to be laid off from plumbing was probably the best thing that ever happened to me, because then I went into the gym business, which was what I wanted to do.
Right.
But I even thought in the back of my mind, this is temporary. I'll take this job for a little while until maybe I could get into the gas company. So it's but at the same time, you start to believe those things.
Yes.
You start to believe, like, well, I have to be secure. I have to get a secure job. You buy a house, and this is what you do, and this is how things go. But it takes a while for people to believe in you. And even when you do find success, there are those people that still don't really support what you're doing.
That's because they don't want to see anybody else happy.
Yeah.
And as Vince's dad touched on, was that, he actually wanted to protect his son, but he wanted to see him step out and succeed. So he decided, the best way to do that is to become one of my son's fans, and not just any fan, but his greatest fan. And again, it's evident because the way he speaks about his son is more than just the way a father would. He talks about Vince like Vince is his friend, and I think a lot of parents and kids have lost touch of that relationship aspect.
Well, with your family, and have you come to the show. My dad runs the ticket booth.
Right, absolutely.
So,
Well, I was even texting with Brian at Brian, what was that, up in Hull, Quebec, at the when Vince competed, and I texted Brian. I've seen Brian, but I don't think officially met, but just thanking him for his investment in Vince and just his support, and doing that made me a part of that world, right?
Right.
It was really nice to get the emails and stuff, and I told you about it right away. I'm like, hey, Vince's dad's writing me on Facebook. This is fun.
You guys are good people. I mean, I listened to that whole Body Shop interview a couple months ago when Vince was down in Tampa, but
I really appreciate that too. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, and I actually promoted it in my circle of friends too.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Hey, do you guys know what Vince's mantra is? What's his big mantra that he's known for? What is
live large, live large.
Yeah, and that really bothered me initially. That you want to talk about as a and then he started to add to that inside and outside the gym.
Yes.
And then I said, you know what? One of the things I do is I'm a lifelong learner too. I'm always reading. I'm always learning. I've got a few degrees, but I'm not a doctor of psychology. But I am a student of people, and I'm reading this book by a psychotherapist. It's not even a religious book, but it's called What Matters Most, and he's got a whole chapter on living large. But it's not like pop psychology. He says it often, people who choose to not live large, people interpret people who live large as getting into narcissistic inflation, and that it's all about themselves. But the reality is people who choose to live small are harboring a lot of fears. And so they never become the best version of themselves,
right?
Because they're inhibited by their fears, and I can relate to that because I kind of want to crawl in my little hobbit hole. And Vince has pushed us. He's pushed everyone in the family to not live like a hobbit. Like there's more to us. There's more to you. Then I think that's what I see. The bigger, whatever Vince is doing, whatever field he's chosen, the bigger metaphor of life is. You can be more than you are, and it maybe doesn't have to be in the fitness world. It could be something else, but don't settle for just what is, for the status quo.
Right. Okay, now Luch.
Often, basically the status quo is the mess we're in.
Right. Now Luch, what are some of the ways that Vince's passion has actually motivated you and your family?
Well, I mean, he's got a brother who's a 4-minute miler who has started to develop a product, and he's a little different than Vince. He's not as comfortable, if I can use this language appropriately. Vince is okay promoting himself, and yet when you're with Vince one-on-one, and you know this, Brian, you've been with him, he's a very humble guy. But when he's in front of the camera, when he's writing, he almost can come across boastful. But I think it's a healthy sense of confidence.
Right.
His younger brother's not like that, but he's helped Michael. They're in the process of developing a product, and Michael's rising up to that. He's helping me. He's always telling me, Dad, you got to write a book. You got to put these thoughts in a book. You've got to do some video. And sometimes I don't like being around him because he makes me uncomfortable. but it's because he believes in me, and he believes people will actually pay to listen to me. And I don't believe in myself as much as he believes in me, and so that's how he's helped at least some of us in our family.
Yeah. Okay, so
that makes sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. There comes a point in everyone's life where the student eventually becomes the teacher, and it seems like that's what's going on now. I'm sorry?
I was going to say, not quite there.
Almost there, huh?
He's still the pony.
Yeah, he does plagiarize his old dad sometimes, but he doesn't give me credit.
Well, actually, look here. I just got an email from JP, and JP says that we're always uncomfortable trying new things, but once we're able to face them, we become better for it. What's your take on that, Luch?
Absolutely. I call that crashing through the quitting points. That's very true. Is he saying, once we don't want to change, but then when we do, we're thankful that we did?
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I can relate to that. I mean, I've one of the things that I have a talk on passion called Passion Busters, and one of the things that destroys passion, pure passion, like passion in terms of a cause or something you're committed to, is unresolved conflicts. When you're unwilling to change, whether it's in your attitudes or your actions,
Right.
it can stall you out. It can sabotage you, right?
Right.
So I think he's really onto something there.
What would you guys say to somebody like that? What would you do for somebody that kind of wants to follow the footsteps of Vince and make some kind of changes? Are there anything like different steps that you would go through?
Well, I think one thing that Vince says to people, Vince isn't he isn't a trained psychologist either. Neither of us are, but he tells people, if I've heard him say it once, I've heard him say it 100 times, is stop making excuses.
Right.
I think that's the beginning often of change, is stop being a victim. You know, Stephen Covey has a line, between stimulus and response, there's a thing called choice. And I know some people have had really tough upbringings. I didn't have the best upbringing, and I could excuse myself from life by just looking back in the rearview mirror all the time.
Right.
And so I think that's one thing I would say. Vince, do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe you can build on that, because I know you talk about that a lot.
Responsibility for where they are in life, and they actually say it is my fault for where I am right now. That can be a really empowering moment, because then they can say, if I made all these decisions, I made all the decisions that led me down this hole, I can make different decisions to get me out of this hole. So,
amen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Luch, from an old school, and I mean that with the utmost amount of respect, please understand that, from an old school perspective, okay, what advice would you have or would you give to somebody who's constantly coming up with excuses? But I want it like from your own words.
Like Nunno would say.
What would I say to someone who's making excuses?
Yeah, constantly coming up with excuses. I'm too tired. I don't have the education. I don't know anything about computers. Oh, this never works for me. I don't have a support system. What would you say to that?
Well, I try to sort out what's real and what's true. What's really, because some people may truly have like some truly objective reasons for why they can't do something, right? Like I don't think I'll ever be able to do math. Like I just don't get math. I don't have that kind of intelligence. My intelligence is in the area of emotional and relational intelligence, right?
Okay.
So yeah, I think you have to be realistic about.
Okay, Dad, so to the guy who's just making an excuse, the guy, the runner who's just not stepping up, that's what they want to hear you say.
Well, I don't know. What do you think I'd say, Vince?
What would you say? Oh, you would just say, quit. Just quit.
You can't be telling people to quit.
Why don't you just give it up?
But my dad just can't. He doesn't want to hear it. It's like I don't want to hear it. It's like, just quit then. Just give up. Just do something else then.
Right.
Kind of like you're not going to get a pity party for me, sort of thing. Go tell somebody else. Like I know you're making an excuse. So
right.
Tell me.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Since we're not going to get a pity party, we're not going to get a birthday party, we're not going to get the tea party. Here's the kind of party that we're going to get. We're going to get a commercial party, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, we got to cut to commercial. When we come back, I'm going to talk to Vince. I'm still going to have his pops on the line, but we're going to talk a little bit about this seminar that Vince has coming up, and I want to get his father's take. So stay tuned. You're listening to The Body Shop.
FTNS, where fitness comes to life.
The fitness industry is beginning a transformation unlike ever before. It is more important than ever to be innovative and creative in order to connect with your customers. FTNS, world's first fitness radio, is here to help you do it. FTNS advertising packages are designed for high-impact, high-frequency reinforcement of your message. Over 70 million people in the U.S. listen to Internet radio each month. FTNS targets fitness-minded people that you want to reach but have never been able to effectively target before. Radio advertising is like word of mouth because it comes from a friend, the listener station. Internet radio is brand building. Positioning your brand through a concept or an attitude is easy to achieve personally, frequently, and economically on radio. Let's partner together to get your message delivered to the hearts and minds of the FTNS listeners. For more information, please email marketing@ftns.co.
Hi there. This is Jerry Zatkoff from the Nutrition Scoop. Where do you get your nutrition information from? The TV? Friends? Or maybe from the front of the package? I'll dish out the latest news on nutrition, the food industry, and research related to health and wellness. Find out what's real, what's true, and what you need to know to stay healthy in our toxic food environment. I'll tell you what to eat, when to eat it, where to buy it, and how to cook it. Weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, only on FTNS.
Need FTNS on the go? There's an app for that. Download the FTNS app for your iPhone, iPad, or iPod Touch now. FTNS, world's first fitness radio, will keep you moving.
Yes. All right, we're back. That's Andre's line.
It's not as easy.
Trademarked. Trademarked. The yes. Okay, so
it's not that
recap
easy.
Real fast from where we came from. You know, we're talking about people getting into fitness as a career.
Yep.
And taking it very seriously.
Yes.
To the next level, well beyond what you can make as a phys ed teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I work for the gas company. And, you know, also, you know, what it takes to go through those steps. You need somebody to support you. You know what I mean? And a lot of times you don't have that support initially.
That's true.
Until people start seeing the success you're having.
Right.
Then they believe in you.
Mm-hmm.
And then they either hate you or become your number one fan. Naysayers.
Naysayers. See, when you listen to The Body Shop, not only are you going to learn backstage secrets, but you're going to get a history lesson. That's just what I do right here.
So, you know, the main thing, you know, I think it's great, you know, I mean, that Vince, you're willing to sit down with people who want to learn how to be successful and get a chance to come sit down with you and your dad and take a look at following through on you know, whether it's your fans, all the people that have supported you and purchased your products and been with you, people that follow you on Facebook and through your website and your blog, and everybody that can now like interact with you, and I believe everybody that's helped you along the way. Is that true?
Well, if it was everybody, I mean, we could fill a room of 400 or 500 people.
Really?
I'm not a self-made man. I'm a help-made man. So there's a couple really, you know, key people though that I wanted to get up on stage, and it wouldn't be a full event if these three people weren't present at the event. So. Essentially, you know, my dad is going to be one of the guest speakers, and to be honest, as you could probably tell, he could speak the entire weekend. He's been doing this for over 25 years, and you know, he speaks to hundreds of people at a time, and he's going to be speaking on a couple of topics that you know, I think are going to really hit the heart and really help transform people's lives. He's going to be touching on why attitude matters so much, and he's going to be giving his talk on eliminating life's passion killers, and he's going to be touching on some of the top 10 things you need to sort out before the age of 40. So he's going to be kind of sharing our live large approach in terms of life, and then I'm also going to be having someone speak on one of my personal mentors who helped me get going in the fitness industry, who helped me really accelerate my income and get focused and give me a place to create a name for myself. And you're also going to meet my coach. He's a pro bodybuilder. He's Canada's best pro bodybuilder at the moment, and he's the guy who's prepping me for the World Championships. So it wouldn't be complete without these three men on stage with me.
Okay, wait a minute. Hold on, though, Vince. But who is this individual?
My coach, his name is Ben Pikowski. He and I actually went to the University of Western Ontario, and then kind of parted paths for a bit. And he was a bodybuilder in university, and he ended up becoming one of the top 2 bodybuilders in Canada. I believe he's ranked number 1. He competed recently at the Flex Pro, Arnold Pro, Aussie Pro, and another show in Germany back in the early year. And I know he's getting ready for the Olympia in 2012, and he's ranked one of the top 20 bodybuilders right now in the world, and he's probably the most intelligent bodybuilder you'll ever meet.
Right.
One of my problems with a lot of bodybuilders out there, no offense to any of them, but if you ask them why they do something, they can't give you an in-depth, intelligent answer, and he tells you exactly why we do everything. And considering I've been training for 8-9 years, he's really brought a lot of different things to my training and helped me just kind of reach new levels. So
yeah, he's highly.
We all need mentors, and even Ben's got his own coaches as well, and it's really neat. So that's Ben Pekowski.
Now, who should attend this seminar?
Anybody who wants to. It's a great question, and I mean, for people that know me, I guess it's going to be easier for them to kind of know what I stand for and what I'm all about. And it's primarily a fitness seminar, and it's geared to anybody who wants to learn my best training, diet, and lifestyle secrets, and wants to basically know how to dial in their abs, build new muscle, how to eat for maximum muscle growth and fat loss, how to stack your supplements properly. And there's going to be some cover models in attendance as well, guys like Obi Obidike and a few other guests who I need to confirm 100%, but he's confirmed 100%, who will be joining me for some Q&A roundtables. So there'll be an opportunity for the attendees to ask the questions, their top nutrition, training, and mindset questions. And basically anybody who's looking to take their physique to a new level.
So now, Vince, you designed this seminar to be almost back-to-back with the competition you're going in, right?
I did. So, a couple of my business mentors have been telling me for years. Actually, they've been telling me for over 2 years, Vince, you need to start doing live events. You need to start doing live events. And I've always wanted to, but again, I'm human too, and I've always had that fear factor. And it's a whole new animal. And selling tickets for a live event is a lot different than getting somebody to buy a 1995 ebook. So, but the internet for me has always just been a kind of a stepping stone to doing what I really want to do. The internet's been amazing and has blessed me and has helped me build up a lot of readers and followers and fans who have got to know me. And now I think it's time to start showing them not only how to live large inside the gym, but how I live large outside of the gym. And that's why I have the day broken up into bonus sessions as well, where they're going to also be able to hear from my dad, who's going to share his Live Large approach for life, and my business coach, who'll talk about the Live Large approach to kind of cashing in on your passion. So we've been talking about this whole theme, but I'm going to talk to people. I'm going to tell people how I did it, because it didn't just happen. There was actually a formula I followed.
Now, when people come, so if somebody comes up, they're going to go to the WBFF World Championships and see you compete, and then
that would be amazing. I mean, but people need to know who if it's their first time hearing about this, I will be competing against the top physiques in the world on August the 27th at the Living Arts Centre, Mississauga, Ontario, Canada, and you're invited. I would love to have you, and the WBFF throws on an amazing, spectacular show of entertainment. You're going to see some amazing athletes get up on stage and show off their hard work, and then I kind of forced myself to do this event by tying the event into my competition. So I figured, what better time than to have a live event than right after the World Championship. So on the Monday, Tuesday, August 29th and 30th, 15 minutes away from the Living Arts Center, people can come to Live Large Live at the Delta Meadowville.
How do they find out how to get tickets to that?
So go to livelargelive.com.
Okay. Now, Vince, you invited Brian, but I didn't get an invitation. Now, I mean, what the hell is going on over here? You're killing me. Luch, get your son.
What is with that boy?
Man. I would love to have you.
Like I said, he's punchy.
Man, if you could be
You watch Rocky. He watches too much
you can't
Rocky.
feel the mic on me.
I think that's what it is. Oh, trust me, I can kill the mic. I just won't do it. Now, Vince, hold on. I just got an email here, right? And right before we go over, a few of the listeners, they want to hear your acronym for haters again.
Oh, hater stands for having anger towards anyone reaching success.
Reaching success. Yep. Okay.
Having anger towards anyone reaching success. I think that's it.
All right. Now, good. Now, Luch.
Hey.
Is there anybody out there that you would like to thank besides your son?
Oh, I want to thank my God, my Maker, but I want to thank my wife who helps me. Is the next closest thing to the good Lord that we just celebrated our 35th anniversary in the Mediterranean.
God bless you.
Anniversary cruise. And
wow.
I'm more in love with that woman than I've ever been. And I used to tell people, for me, success begins in the home. If I fail, this is just me. If I fail in the home with my wife and my sons, then I have failed, no matter how much success I've had out in the public sphere. So I made it my goal early on in life. I made a change that I was going to do things a little different than. I love my dad. You need to know I love my late father, but
right.
My dad was absent, and I just really poured my life into my sons, and maybe overpoured at times, but I've been there for them. I've been a dad who showed up.
Right, absolutely.
And so I want to thank my sons for being patient with me, and especially Vince for not giving up on his old dad when his dad was kind of hard on him at times.
Right.
It was probably hardest on him than I was on his brothers, but he kept getting back up again, and not because I knocked him down, but but he just had that. I think he had inside of him. He knew my dad really has my best interest. Right now, I'm not getting it, but maybe someday I will.
Right. Well, you know what? I'm glad you stayed on your son the way you did, because it turned him into a very successful individual. Congratulations on celebrating your anniversary. Thank you for your tips on success. And in closing, success breeds envy. The best revenge you can have against a jealous person is to become even more successful. You keep God first and everything will fall into place. This is Bricks. I'm signing off for Vinny. I'm signing off for Luciano. I'm signing off for super producer Ermal, Brian Canone. Hey world, listen, we gotta go, but we'll see you when we see you.